It is I, the four-time world champion of your mind. Today, I'm going to be speaking about an RPG topic, forcing players to play Healbot clerics. I've had a number of people asking me, talking to me about various situations along those lines, and I read a comment from my buddy Matt Silva tonight along those lines, and we're going to get well into that and well into what I think, and we're going to talk about this for just a minute. Within the Ring of Fire, first 4 books out, next one coming out very soon. Get your copies on PDF today. Hit me up on Facebook, Anderwood, Main Man. I'll add you. $75 will get you every Within the Ring of Fire PDF ever to come out, as well as some extras. You can also go to drivethrurpg.com and pick up the books. If you're on the fence, go check out Matt Click and go subscribe to Matt Click's channel and watch his recent review of Within the Ring of Fire. Watch all the reviews of Within the Ring of Fire and review your ass over to DriveThruRPG and pick up Within the Ring of Fire today. Get your RPG excitement like never before and game like an RPG god. All right, so now that I got some of the shenanigans out of the way, only some of them, I assure you more are to come. And we're going to be talking about this epidemic of horrendous gaming and horrendous game mastering. If you are construing and constructing your group in a fashion to do this, don't. And I've found it to become very prevalent in the modern day, largely because of video games. I can tell you back in AD&D, the idea of, at least to people I played with, back when it was AD&D and back when it was Dungeons and Dragons, and back when it was Dungeons and Dragons, the people I played with, that idea would, like, no one would have even ever thought of that. At least as far as the people no one was like, oh, we need a cleric. It was like, now man, another fighter. And it was another fighter. And if you even had a thief, you were doing pretty good. So that idea is something that I never saw until I began to get into the sort of the larger internet community. I've never had that happen in my game, ever. I don't think I've ever run a game, unless there were a ton of players there, that had all 4 of the base archetypes, the fighter, the cleric, the thief, and the wizard. I don't know if it's ever happened in a game I've run or even played in. You know, you just kind of get your own gimmick. It's like, all right, look, I'm the battle axe wielding barbarian that wears no armor. All right, well, I'm not going to let somebody else play a battle axe wielding barbarian with no armor. That'd just be, redundant. You'd be stepping all over each other's spotlights, but that doesn't mean somebody can't play a quick, swift, elven swashbuckler or, some bizarre daredevil type of warrior, a big chainmail wearing, bastard sword swinging, style of fighter like that, or all sorts of different deals. A crossbowman. There's a ton of different deals that just put some swagger on it, and you're good to go. But on the internet, this is apparently a very big problem, and I think it's only going to become much larger because of the influence of MMOs on our hobby. And while they do provide to some degree a feeder system, they teach people. I would be hard pressed to come up with a worse way to teach people how to role play than what is done in, say, a World of Warcraft or a similar experience. That's just the largest, and quite honestly, I don't know all their names, but it teaches and reinforces. I don't believe anything good. I'm trying to pull at it. Getting more people in the hobby to buy games and so forth is good, but miseducation is a tremendously terrible thing. So you essentially need a brand new process. And what my buddy Matt was writing me about, he said, he was forced. The game master apparently wasn't about him, and I don't know anything about that. But he rejected his character, rejected his character that said, look, you got to play a cleric to heal them. And he was like finna walk out on that game. And he said, what should I do? I said, you should walk out and powerbomb the man through a table on the way through, drop the elbow, Abdullah the Butcher style, take a fork and stab him, see if he's done. And he will be done. And get a quick 1, 2, 3. That's your main man's words of advice. He said, anyone ever done that to you? I say, oh, nobody dare do that to me. I'll tell you that right now. And I remember back in AD&D, when it was AD&D, I played a priest of Himdall. And I'm sure one of you fucking nerds is going to correct me, and I'm sorry, but I'm a wild-eyed Southern boy from America, so sometimes. But they had the spheres, And I thought second edition AD&D handled clerics better than any of the other editions of Dungeons and Dragons because they were all kind of unique. Well, the specialty priests anyway. Clerics completely sucked in that game. But the specialty priests were awesome. It's like, oh, you use a sword, but you can only use like minor access to weather, and you have minor access to divination, but you have full combat, and you can use healing spells, but only in reverse. You can only use caused light wounds or whatever. You can't use a full healing spell, and you have darkness, fear, and whatever else there was. And it was really cool because it made each one of them different. Someone could wear armor, someone couldn't. Someone could only wear certain types of armor. Someone could only use certain types of weapons. Someone couldn't use a bludgeoning weapon. Maybe you just had a dagger, and that's all you could use. So it made each one of them different. And I remember it was basically like an enormous number of additional character classes with an ethos behind them, with a role-playing package and a dog. It was fucking wonderful. I mean, that AD&D Legends and Lore book might be the best D&D book ever made. It was astoundingly good. You know, I put Forgotten Realms Adventure up there as one of the better Dungeons & Dragons books ever made. And Legends and Lore second edition was tremendous. Not the first edition one, which I thought was, good by the time, but the second edition one far surpassed it. Like a big Minotaur, and I think Zeus was on the cover. I need to get another copy of that book. But the idea, first of all, of forcing someone to play something, it's fine to force someone not to play a concept. You're like, look, dude, I can't use that concept. Like, it doesn't work, It's all right, we're going to play a game where we're all human sailors. I want to play a drow that won't go on boats. Well, no, dude, you can't do that. Well, how about I play the Tarrasque with a man-like intelligence? The Tarrasque will be in there, and you're going to say, that's right, baby. That's right, baby. Play a Tarrasque. He might be 8 times bigger than a boat, but that don't matter, baby. You're going to float. Rejected concepts, not only perfectly acceptable, but you largely should, particularly if you have a ridiculous player or a player that just isn't going to produce a character that's going to work well with the game. Say, this is my game and this is what you can do. I have a game where no one can play gnomes. You play my game, I wouldn't suggest that as a good idea, or halflings, or, really even dwarves. I would say those are bad ideas. You want to jump in with a lizard man, okay, we could probably roll and work with that, all depending. But you want to know what your game master wants and make it fun for the game master. But a game master, don't think like here, that's ridiculous. You've already completely constrained your creativity to the point. I would never play. If I heard someone do that, first of all, I'd crack them and joke them, but I wouldn't ever play in that guy's game. I'd be like, ooh, man, that guy, he did this, and it'd all be, ooh. It's terrible. It's absolutely indefensible. I know there's somebody who defends it and, like, says, well, how dare you say anything isn't the best? Everything is the best, regardless of what it is. No, it isn't. And I got the guts to expose this, believe it. So I will, and I shall. Now, first of all, you don't want to prepare a group like that, as you're going to end up with a rinse-repeat scenario. It's going to be the same old song again and again, and it's going to be sickening. If people go, I don't want to play fantasy because I can't do anything. I got to play a cleric all the time of a god. And then you run into the problem of people not even knowing, like barely knowing who their god is. Like, well, who's your god? Oh, hold on, let me look at my character sheet. Well, wait a minute, aren't you a cleric? How the fuck are you playing your character if you don't know who your god is? Oh, I don't know. Oh, fuck, I'm chaotic neutral. Oh, I thought it was lawful good. Oops. Yeah, I worship, what is his name? Tyre? Oh, I saw that one time from a dude. I didn't understand how to process that. I could tell you the first time when I was playing RPGs, first time I was playing any sort of clerics, no one ever had to explain it to me when I'm a teenager. I'm like, well, yeah, it's a different deal. Each deal is a different deal. And to me, that was what really was appealing about them. I hate the fancy magic system, but I found it really appealing to play this cleric and, engage in sacrifices of all sorts of various kinds. You might sort of lay it out like this nice sacrifice of grains and tomatoes, or of cutting the animal fat off and burning it, or incense, or you're murdering people. Whatever your god's a dogma, a cosmological positioning is, whatever their ethos is really going to determine these sort of things. But they make wonderful, wonderful scenes for role playing. People are, and they'll look at it and go, that's great. And if you're out there, one of the new people that watch it, by new, I mean, even if you're new in the hobby and you're 107, but particularly if you're younger, do something like that in your game and have people go, You know, be all about your God if you're a cleric. Put it over. Make it a big part of your identity. It should be. It's the focal point of your life. Nothing is more important than that to you. And serving that idea and that identity, and everything should be looked through the focals of, is this pleasing to my divinity? Is it good to my divinity? And then when you really get into it, you can even create heresies and things like that. You can be like, oh, the orthodoxy has done this, and these are unacceptable to Talos. For Talos wishes I beat that ass and keep that ass beat. And they're saying, only beat it and don't keep it beat. Of course, being hyperbolic there, as I usually am. But it's important to think that through and really get in there, because that's your whole character. It's not swinging a blunt weapon and, using a sling. It's being part of this God's plan, and you choose them. Pick whatever you want. But just to be reduced to some sort of first aid center of magic healing, first of all, it's unbelievably insulting to the entire idea of clerics. But furthermore, it creates a world, a gaming situation in a group that's unbelievably disjointed. You go, oh, well, I'm playing a cleric, so I guess no one else has to. And the cleric completely sucks because nobody wants to play that Duber heal bot. When on the other hand, a cleric is like way more awesome than anyone else. It's like, yes, I've learned arcane secrets, and it's like, yes, and I am the sharpest knife, and we'll just in your kidney, and what's good with that? And then the fighter's like, yeah, I'm big and strong. And you're like, I am the living voice of God. And they're like, oh, I will decide if you live or die, if your wounds are healed or not. You wish to be cured by me? Upon your knees, heathen, and pray to true God with language for religion. And you could fucking, you should pump that. Don't be running up, hey, here's a kid that means bad, buddy. Here's a kid that says wounds bad, buddy. Don't do that. If they're not down with your divinity, if there's one cleric in a group, everyone else in your group should at least strongly tell you and in front of you act like they are active followers of your divinity. Unless they're of like a very closely aligned divinity or something like that. Otherwise, your divinity is going to take umbrage at that. That's how they get their strength. They want that worship. Don't matter what alignment they are. They need you on them knees praying. So, your chaotic neutral or neutral evil thief or whatever you have should be like, oh yes, I do follow Odin. He is wonderful, beguiling and tricksterish, wise in his ways, and then you are a magnificent vessel. He should just fucking guile you and appeal to your belief in your divinity, and then you're healing him up. And what does that do? It gives you a role-playing opportunity. It gives you a role-playing prop and tool. And then if he strays away, he's like, no, and you're like, well, Odin says I may not heal you, because Odin doesn't want you to heal that guy, But Odin actually doesn't grant healing spells, or at least if they are, they're the minor school of healing. So it's really important to realize that all you do is cheapen your gaming experience tremendously by not putting the correct emphasis on clerics, and you should never force someone to play a cleric because they're going to go, oh, I don't want to do this. And my boy Matt's only one of a large number of people who, gosh, just maybe in the past 2 months have written me. And I get people writing me about this all the time. Well, how do I not play the cleric? You tell them you're not going to play a cleric. That's how you don't do that. I mean, that's easy. Show your role-playing chops or what have you. And if they just don't like you at all, find someone else to play with, man. I mean, you have Google Plus, you got Skype, you got all kinds of avenues to find games and people to play with. It's not that difficult. You don't have to play in person if you're in a bad spot, a bad situation, a bad group. Don't degrade yourself like that. You can find a group that's going to treat you like a fucking human being. I mean, seriously. So if somebody, if they don't dig your style as a player, just find another group. You'll find a group that at least accepts you. Everyone can do that, trust me. There ain't much in the way of credentials for many groups. But it's an important thing to do, I think, to find a group that's going to value you, that's going to use you properly, that's going to put you in a good spot, that's going to allow you to get what you want out of the group. If your skills are very poor and shoddy, watch my videos, buy Within the Ring of Fire, read it, and it will improve you by vast strokes. If you are, let's face it, a shoddy player, and most players are. there. I mean, that's a shoot. Not all players. There's a lot of great ones out there that I've met. But people are brought in often and never taught how to role play. Where are you going to learn it from? Go pick up a Dungeons & Dragons book and show me where you learned to role play. Okay. You need a teacher. You need a vessel. You need an opportunity. You have a lot of people that fall off the hobby because they never find that because no one was taught. You have people that have no idea what they're doing, chasing other people. And what do you end up with? Trash. I mean, that's the bottom line. But you can always re-educate yourself, even if you're, well past the prime of your RPG career, baby. But that can be at any time. You understand? It is not a physical activity. Unless I play in it sometimes. Sometimes. So, tell your game master when they say we're going to do the standard party, tell them no. Say no. Who are you? You're a jabron and a piece of trash. I have authority from upon high. The roiling, rumbling storm clouds that says this is a jack to me. Or, take it. If you really want to screw with them, you're playing a game where they don't have healing. Take a cleric that doesn't heal. And be like, fucked you, didn't I? I don't have healing spells at all. But, I have some extra thief abilities or whatever they get you. Because they're going to get you something. All of them get something. And pretty much all of them have something cool. And that was a jack with like 80 seconds. You're like, oh, that's cool. And that one, and that one, and that one. How do you work in, 412 characters? I mean, I certainly couldn't. But there's a load of option and opportunity there. And I think clerics are awesome. Don't misunderstand it. Oh, Andy said that clerics is the balls. No. I think they're wonderful. But I think trying to force someone to play a cleric so that you can have healing spells for your game is an unbelievable horror. If clerics really need healing and no one made it, I guess they all need to die. That's it. And I will tell you this, cleric's probably the most powerful class in the game. I ran a Forgotten Realms game where 5 out of 6 players had healing powers. Like, one had like 3 levels. He was like a fighter, but had like 3 levels of cleric. One was almost a full cleric, but like a level or 2 of something else. One was a bard that had healing spells. One was a paladin that was pretty high level, so he had some healing spells too. So, plus lay on of hands. Oh my god, it was brutal. I'm like, bam! Hitting them for huge damage. And then again, I was like dropping dudes in 2 shots from big beasties. And I was like, haha, because I ran Ravenloft, almost everyone played a fighter. So they was SOL, lots of people died. But they'd be like, run up, heal. And of course they scribe it and everything. But the warriors were back up. Oh, one was playing what is the battle priest called? The Favored Soul. And we put some wrestling on that character. And that character would wrestle you. But he'd get beat down, right? But he'd just get popped right back up because they'd heal him for like all his hit points back. I'd be like, oh, that was a hell of a deal. So the power of the group dramatically increased. And if your players don't want to play you could play all clerics. Trust me, you would be doing fine. You would be doing fine. That is a ridiculously powerful class once you start dropping some levels on it. Because you start looking around through optional books and such, there are a lot of damaging spells from clerics. Don't think wizards have all of them. They do not. There were some that, they would just brutalize, which is fine by me. I don't care if you do well on things. And I always run combat. Well, almost all my combat encounters, I'll throw you a softball here and there, but they're brutal, man. They are brutal for the most part. I don't use no ECLs. It's like, well, sorry, that's 8 ECL higher than your group, but let's see what you got, sucker. So it's very important if you're a game master, don't force someone to do that. Don't. There's no defensible position for that. There's no defensible position for a fighter, thief, cleric, wizard group. There's none. That's just a choice. You could play a group with, this dude said he was trying to play another wizard. Him and the other dude was going to be a tag team, Abjurer, Evocator, Wizard, tag team of brothers. Okay. All right. That's fine. Not a big fan of evokers, but I think that deal is perfectly fine. You start building a backstory, having a brother. I think you don't want to overdo that. You don't want to do it like every campaign, every saga, every story. But you could do that every once in a while. It could change things. It could be cool to be like brothers. Like, well, no, we're brothers. Yes, but no, that's my brother. I'm about to kick you in the teeth with my iron shod boots, sucker. So don't force anyone to do that, and don't do standard operating party measures. I made certain when I, fixed everything in fantasy gaming with this, that you could not really do that. It wouldn't it wouldn't make any sense. You know, the cleric be out there trying to burn the fucking witch to death. That shit ain't gonna fly. So that's an important thing to think about. Think about how you're putting your party together, and make sure to check out Raw Immersive Games on Facebook.